I'm looking forward to speaking to those folks. So thank you so much for coming, everybody. Thank you for coming to this very important event today. This is a very special moment. Here you've got a whole community coming together. The Village, Chelsea, and Hell's Kitchen, we're coming together to call for something very important. We're calling for common sense street safety redesign of major corridors in our community. 10th Avenue, 11th Avenue, 6th Avenue South in the Village. These corridors are unchanged over many years. And let's face it, 10th Avenue is a 4-lane highway running right through our residential communities. It lacks the safety features that have been installed on many corridors throughout the city. And on 10th Avenue, we've got schools like PS 51 and PS 111 and the Beacon School. We've got Manhattan Plaza, which has a large population of seniors. We've got NYCHA, Elliott, Chelsea, and Fulton houses. And on 10th Avenue, a bike lane was added. Safety features were added north of 52nd Street. And on 11th Avenue, and the same is true for 11th Avenue north of 42nd Street and 6th Avenue north of 8th Street, safety features were added. But otherwise on these avenues, they're lacking any safety features at all. And in addition to bike lanes, we're also calling for pedestrian refuge islands. What's a pedestrian refuge island? A pedestrian refuge island, it's a median with a refuge area that protects pedestrians who are crossing a multi-lane road. You'll see them on 9th Avenue, you see them on 8th Avenue, you see them in many other corridors in our district. So we want pedestrian refuge islands with large tree pits that can accompany trees and plantings. And let's start a Hell's Kitchen Garden Club that can landscape these tree pits. Let's beautify the neighborhoods at the same time that we make it a safer neighborhood to live in. So 10th Avenue, I can tell you firsthand how dangerous 10th Avenue is as a corridor. I live on 24th Street between 9th and 10th Avenue. And when I bike up 10th Avenue, I'm really taking my life into my own hands. Anyone who bikes up 10th Avenue is taking their life in their own hands. I biked here today, and I'm telling you, I was inches from the wheels of an 18-wheel truck, zooming right past my head. Very unsafe. My mother would kill me if she knew I was doing that. But for me, it's by far the fastest way to go to Hell's Kitchen. Otherwise, I've got to go all the way over to 8th Avenue. So we need to make these improvements as soon as possible. I do want to acknowledge that there's been great work done in our district over the years. In the past 10 years, we've got 5th Avenue, 6th Avenue, 7th Avenue bike lanes, but we've got a lot more to go. And what we're doing today is we're asking the city, the new Adams administration, to prioritize these projects. We know they've got a lot of projects going on, but we're asking them to prioritize these projects because our community is at risk until these projects are completed. Am I right?
Yes.
So I also want to make sure that when we talk about redesign, we're asking the city to work with the local community on these designs. Work very closely with Community Board 4, who we're going to be hearing from shortly. Community Board 2, the block associations, because we know our streets, we know where the problem areas are, and we can work very closely with the DOT and help designing safety features that work best for our community. But we really need to expedite the process because the Department of Transportation, they say that they are working on it, but that could mean anything. It could be years away. We really need this to be prioritized. We have a really fantastic new Department of Transportation Commissioner, Idanis Rodriguez, the former chair of the Transportation Committee on the City Council. I know that this is a top priority for him. So I have faith that we're going to be able to get this, but we've got to come together as a community and make our voices heard and let the administration know that this is a top priority for our community. So we've got some incredible elected officials representing our community, and I have been so honored to be able to join them. We're really fortunate on the west side of Manhattan to be represented by great people, and one of them is Senator Brad Hoylman, who's here today. Senator Hoylman.
Thank you so much, council member. I am so honored to be here. I think this is your first press conference, am I right?
It is, yes.
Let's give a round of applause. How appropriate that Councilmember Bottcher's first press conference is about something that is so personal to so many of us, traffic and traffic safety. Look at this traffic on 10th Avenue. I mean, it would make Gridlock Sam blush. It is so bad. It's so personal to all of us. You know, my 11-year-old tonight, this very night, my husband and I were talking to her. She is walking 4 blocks to have hot chocolate with a good friend tonight. And we're worried about it. We are truly worried about her safety. She's walking on her own. So, council member, the plan and the effort that you've brought forward with so many community leaders, community boards 4 and 2 I know are here, the local block associations, and let me particularly note Families for Safe Streets and all the amazing work they do. Can we give them a round of applause? Let me say that up in Albany, we're fighting this fight too. We're going to fight linked arm with our local officials here, including Councilmember Bottcher, Assemblywoman Rosenthal, Congressman Nadler, our great borough president, and Assemblymember Gottfried. Let me tell you, there's a fight in Albany right now. Believe it or not, it's not New York City that controls speed limits, it's Albany. Albany. Now tell me why the senator from Buffalo should have something to say about the speed limit in Brooklyn, and it's hard to imagine that that's the fact. But we have a bill that I am proud to sponsor called Sammy's Law, named after a young man named Sammy Cohen Eckstein, who was struck and killed just a few months shy of his 13th birthday. He was struck and killed because of the speed limit there in Brooklyn was too high, and we know that for every mile per hour that you lower a speed limit, you save lives. We're going to get that bill passed. We call it Sammy's Law. It passed the Senate Transportation Committee yesterday, and we're going to get it to the floor and passed in both houses. And I want to thank, in particular, Assemblymember Richard Gottfried, the Assembly sponsor, because he knows how important it is. And council member, the efforts you're making today couldn't be more important. We know that last year was the most deadly year for traffic fatalities in the entire city. Even though we have Vision Zero, even though we have taken traffic calming measures, even though we have a forward-thinking transportation department, we have to win the battle against cars. We need to put pedestrians and cyclists first. This is our city, am I right? Yes. Are we going to fight for Councilmember Erik's progress? Yes. Are we going to make New York City a city of pedestrians first? Yes. Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Hoylman. On the west side in Council District 3, we're also extremely lucky to have fantastic community boards who have been out front on this issue. So I'm very proud to introduce from Community Board 4, we have Chair Jeffrey LeFrancois and Traffic and Transportation Committee co-chairs Christine Berthet and Dale Corvino.
Thank you, Council Member. It's a pleasure to be with you here today, though on a topic that we should have been addressing decades ago. In the past 2 years, we have watched cities around the world transform themselves to put pedestrians, the people that make this city function, first. And it is high time New York City do that, and we want to start it and make it happen on the West Side, as we've been doing for a long, long time. Yeah. It wouldn't have been possible without my colleagues on the community board, Christine Berthet and Dale Corvino of our Transportation Committee, moving things forward like concrete pedestrian islands to actually protect pedestrians. We need a full suite of services, including split-phase signals at our intersections to give pedestrians a head start on getting out into the avenue or the street to safely to get to where they're going. Decades ago, our sidewalks were literally taken from us as they made way for more cars in this city to get folks to come in on the tunnels and bridges. It is high time we reclaim that space and put people first to make sure this can be a safe, livable, and clean city. I look forward to joining the good council member and all of our colleagues on the West Side to making this happen. So thank you for having us here today, Erik.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. We're also joined by several members of Community Board 2. So I'm proud to introduce Mar Fitzgerald, who's here from Community Board 2.
Hello, my name is Mar Fitzgerald. I am the chair of Equity, Race, and Justice for Community Board 2. This is such an important endeavor, and Community Board 2 really wants safe streets for our community members, and we will do everything possible to support Councilmember Bottcher and Senator Hoylman's endeavor to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a very special speaker here today who is speaking from a place of heartbreak, but also from a place of power. And, you know, I so admire Families for Safe Streets, because Families for Safe Streets has helped us achieve the progress that we have achieved through their stories. They're very powerful stories. And, you know, there's nothing more tragic than when a protected bike lane goes in the month after someone is killed. That's just an awful thing, and I've seen it happen here in our district. So I'm very honored to introduce Debbie Kahn from Families for Safe Streets.
Okay, he's got the picture. Oh. Thank you. Hello, my name is Debbie Kahn, and I'm a founding member of Families for Safe Streets. My only child, Seth Kahn, lived, worked, and attended school right here in Hell's Kitchen. But unfortunately, unbelievably, he was run over and killed 12 years ago. 12 unimaginable years ago. Seth was 22 and the center of Harold and my life. And he's gone in a second. 2021 had the most fatalities out of any year since 2013. 4 people have been killed and nearly 500 injured in the last 5 years along 10th Avenue between 14th and 59th Street. The city must use every tool imaginable to end traffic violence. This includes comprehensive, life-saving redesigns of streets, including 10th and 11th Avenue. Like this council member said, it truly will change the face of this community and help save countless lives. Right now, the overwhelming majority of space along these 2 streets is dedicated to cars. Yet more than 80% of households within a quarter of a mile of 10th Avenue are car-free. This inequitable distribution of street space also contributes to higher air pollution levels. And yes, this inequitable distribution of street space leads to preventable, heartbreaking traffic violence. Our city must redesign these streets for safety by reclaiming car space for people. We also call upon our state lawmakers in Albany to act for street safety by passing the full Crash Victims' Rights and Safety Act.
Yeah.
A comprehensive, life-saving package of bills to build safe streets all across our state of New York. On behalf of Families for Safe Streets, we thank Councilmember Bottcher and the other community leaders and organizations here today for leading the charge for safe streets in Chelsea and in Hell's Kitchen. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As I had mentioned before, 10th Avenue, the 4-lane highway that is 10th Avenue, has several schools alongside it, and many young children cross 10th Avenue every day amidst very heavy traffic. We're joined today by the president of the PS51 PTA, Lilybeth Feliciano.
Hi everybody, my name is Lilybeth Feliciano. I am PTA president. I don't know how to do
It is, just hold it close.
There we go. PTA president for PS51. I'm a proud parent of twin girls and a proud community member of my wonderful school, and I see many, many faces, I know. So thank you for coming. This is especially important for all of us. We walk here every day with our kids. In the morning, at night, we take our kids to the park. We come to our Target because they can't pass it without going in. And we're walking to and from every day. The fact that in the morning our crossing guard is yelling at the top of her lungs and putting her body between traffic and kids is insane. And that's only a few hours of the day that we have her there. The rest of the time, there's no one there. The rest of the time, we're on our own. And when I say on our own, it's us against them. The cars. So the fact that my daughter will put her body between an elderly person crossing the street is not okay. The fact that she'll be walking across the street and will stop and say to a car, "Stop, I'm crossing," is not okay. We need safer streets. I've been on the other end of that call, and bless you, I for your loss. I've been on the call where they call and say, "Your husband's been hit by a car on his scooter." 3 times. The first one, unconscious, he was a John Doe. The second time, thankfully, he knew who he was. The third time, they skimmed him. We live across the street. The fact that he has to reroute himself to get home so that he's in a bike lane and not getting hit is insane. When his daughter says, "Can I go for a ride?" Absolutely not. You are not going on that scooter. So let's change things. Let's give a safer city to our kids. Let's give them the means to transport themselves in this beautiful city. The fact of the matter is, all of us can't drive. All of us can't take a bus. It's not convenient. A scooter works. A bike works. It's good for the environment. It's good for the city. Make it safer for us to live here. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you very much. If we've got anyone from PS111, Trevor, why don't you come on up? There's Trevor Richardson from the PS111 PTA, and if Laura is here, the actual current president, Trevor's the former president. Come on up.
Where is it?
You just hold it up to your mouth.
Hi, everybody.
we always like to support Erik and everything that he does, but this especially holds a place in our hearts. We've lived right here at 43rd and 10th for 20 plus years, and nothing has changed on 10th Avenue. It is truly taking your life into your own hands. We have 2 small children that have grown up here and gone 10 blocks back and forth to school every day via bike, via scooter, on foot, and it is very scary. Not having a bike lane, a protected bike lane, is huge, and obviously the pedestrian safety as well. And besides the 2 elementary schools here, there are a whole bunch of high schools which draw kids from all over the place, and we have several charter schools, a middle school. There's schools everywhere around here, and lots of students coming from all places at times of day. So it is especially important in this highly residential area.
Well, and in the time that we've lived in the neighborhood has evolved to a much more family-friendly place, a place where people stay and really live their lives. So a lot more children, a lot more seniors, and just a lot more people in general are settled farther west of 8th Avenue. So that much more important to look out for all of us as we're crossing the street. You can see it right now this morning how difficult it is to even be heard. Super busy in our neighborhood, and definitely extremely important to be looking out for everyone's safety.
And not to mention the hordes of tourists that are now finally coming back to our neighborhood. That'll revitalize it as well. Their safety counts obviously as well. So thank you, Erik, for everything you're doing, and Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Today we've also been joined by district leaders Marisa Rodanti and Paul Devlin. I want to thank them for being here and for their strong advocacy on this topic. I also want to thank that we have representatives from Assemblymember Dick Gottfried, Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal, Congressman Nadler here today. Really want to thank them for their support. I'm going to now call up a very special guest from Los Deliveristas, the organization that advocates on behalf of the delivery people who, by the way, are essential workers. They are essential workers, the people who deliver our food and other goods during the pandemic when no one was going outside except for essential workers, healthcare workers. The deliveristas were out there, and we've been we're going to be working very closely with deliveristas on connecting them with our local block associations. We know that the delivery people are under a great deal of pressure to make their deliveries very quickly, and sometimes they're forced to drive on the sidewalk and against traffic, and they shouldn't have to do that. So we're working with Los Deliveristas on that, and also improving the streets. So please welcome Hidalian from Los Deliveristas. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm here with Josh Wood. He is a deliverista that actually works in your neighborhood. He is the person that brings food to your door. Out of one of the many of them, he's the leader of the area. And we're here to support your community on reclaiming the streets, right? This is the delivery workers that use a bike not only to help us through the pandemic and survive, but also to help a lot of the small businesses to survive during the pandemic, because they only carry their food, but also they're carrying their goods. And they being ahead of the game in even the conversation of safety and also climate. They don't spend no carbon as they manage to move millions of goods and food every day. We're here to support you as a community. We're here to introduce ourselves. We want to be part of your community. We feel that we're part of your community. We know a lot of you guys. We are working with our workers to make sure to understand what is the coexistence. These workers have been working very hard. Recently, as many of you guys know, they won the right to actually go to the bathroom to the person that they deliver. This is what we're fighting for. They still fighting to get a minimum wage, and it's thanks to the city council and to Erik and many of them, they were able to win that right. They started to have that right January 24. of this year, which is amazing to have, right? And it's because of people like you that support them in their fight, and they keep supporting them. We're still gonna keep going. We're still gonna have a lot to go, but we're here to say we're gonna fight side by side with you to make sure to reclaim those streets for people, for pedestrians, for bikers. And with the same, to support senators in Albany to make sure that Sammy law gets passed. It's about time. I don't know, we have taken so much time to do that. The Liberistas have seen also the deadliest loss. We lost 14 people last year delivering food in New York City. 14 of them. Two of them actually died on December 24th, which is incredible. So we feel your pain. We've been working with Families for Safe Streets because they've been actually helping us to help their families to actually deal with that pain, because they lost their lives working, right? They came very hard to this country, many of them, to work very hard. So we stand with you. We're going to support you. We're going to be here with you. We're going to be here every time that you call us, and we're always going to be here. So we look forward to working with you, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, please welcome Juan Restrepo's from Transportation Alternatives.
Thank you, Councilmember. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Today, Transportation Alternatives is proud to stand with Councilmember Bottcher, Community Boards 2 and 4, Idalin and Los Deliveristas, and every other civic that's here to call for safety improvements on 10th and 11th Avenue. There's no reason that it's taken years for us to reach this point when we know literally down the block there are safety improvements that we want to see here. Protected bike lanes, pedestrian refuge islands. This is not new technology. The city's been doing it for years, and there's no reason we should not be doing it here as well. There are some important statistics to take into consideration when we're talking about this. More than 80% of households within a quarter-mile radius of 10th Avenue do not own a car. That's not reflected right there. This is not a street built for the community. And it's reflected every single time a crash happens here and lives are lost. It doesn't have to be like this, and we can replicate what we've seen on other avenues that are within this district. So we're really happy to work with Councilmember Bottcher and other council members on Transportation Alternatives 25 by 25 initiative. We need to reclaim our streets, and we can do so by 2025 by reallocating 25% of the space that we see on our streets. And we can give it to people who are riding the bus, the M11 bus, if anyone's taken it. It's literally one of the slowest buses in the city. The amount of traffic violence that's happening on 10th and 11th Avenue is crazy. And we heard from Debbie, it's one of the most violent years that has happened in a long time since Vision Zero was enacted. And we can build streets that prioritize working cyclists who are, as Hidlali mentioned, bringing the food to everyone here and doing the work that needs to be done to keep us safe and fed and working from home during the pandemic. So thank you very much again, Councilmember Bottcher, for your support on this and your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have many of our great block associations here today. I see we've got 43rd, 44th, 45th, 47th, and I'm going to invite Hannah from 45th, 46 up, who's been active on this issue for a long time.
So I have to pass? Oh. So I'm here wearing many hats. I stand with Debbie and Harold and Elizabeth and too many others from Families for Safe Streets. My job by day and by night, because we have too many people being killed and injured on our streets. I will never, as a resident of 45th Street, cycling home from the bike path, coming up 44th Street, making my turn onto 10th Avenue, I will never, ever forget the image of the young man who ended up under the wheels of the M11 bus right here, startling forever as well, the waiter who had to witness it and called for emergency help. Every day, Elizabeth, Bella, Tom, all of us are terrified walking, biking these streets. We are so energized, so optimistic, so hopeful to hear that Councilmember Bottcher, Senator Hoylman, and others are taking this lead and making our streets safe. There is nothing like actually redesigning our streets that will bring us this safety. And the idea of beautifying it and greening it and adding gardens, I can't tell you how important that is. Our lungs are choking. It is hard to breathe in this neighborhood. We are looking forward to working with you. We have so many neighbors who wish they could have been here today as well. And we stand with you. We look forward to working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hunter raised a very important point, and that is about air pollution. I read an article just the other day that talked about how severe the impact of air pollution is on life expectancy. It's far more severe than we previously knew, especially seniors. Particles in the air are extremely dangerous to seniors, and we enjoyed the pandemic has been horrible, terrible, but there was a period where there was very little traffic on the streets, where the air quality improved a lot. It's now, not only is the traffic back, it's worse than it ever was. The congestion's been worse than it ever was. So I support congestion pricing. I support congestion pricing. I think there should be some accommodations for people who live in the zone, but I support congestion pricing because you walk through our neighborhoods and you're walking among exhaust spewing, honking traffic. And by the way, we've been used to it for a long time. We've just been used to it for a long time. But people are waking up. They're waking up and they're realizing we don't need to be used to it. We don't need to live this way. So congestion pricing is a proven way to reduce the amount of traffic in our streets. Because if you look at the traffic coming out of the Lincoln Tunnel, there's one person behind the wheel of every car. That is not an efficient way of moving people throughout our region. So during rush hour, leave the car at home. If you want to take it into Midtown, you're going to pay a charge. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Take the train.
Take the train. Take the train. Because for decades and decades, we've starved our public transit of resources, of investment. That includes the bus system. We ignored it for decades, and it's true about the M11. I was going to a friend's daughter's birthday party at the circus up at Lincoln Center, and I made the mistake of taking the M11 during rush hour, like a dummy. And I missed the juggler. I missed the worst part for me was I missed the little dogs that run through the tricks, right? So, are there any organizations here that I missed today? I want to make sure that everyone's had a chance to get represented. But what you're seeing here today is a community coming together. We are coming together as a community to ask our city to make common sense improvements, safety improvements to this 4-lane highway, 10th Avenue, running right through our neighborhood. Also 11th Avenue, 6th Avenue South, 7th Avenue South. When you get down to Varick Street, you lose the bike lane. It's time. Let's make the improvements. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Really appreciate it. What do we want? Safe streets. When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Safe streets.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Safe streets.
When do we want it?
Now.
Thank you, everybody.
Woo!
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. I forgot that it's a press conference and we have to take questions. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. It's my first one. Cut me some slack.
We love first.
Yes, thank you.
We have a bill to release
Universal Is this press conference related to that call, or is this a separate call? And what is the best way to be picking which of the 1,000 intersections there are alive? New around here. Is it everybody who's walking? Is it just dangerousness? Is it anything national for it? What's the best way to go?
So the question is, the mayor and the transportation commissioner have announced that they're going to move quickly to address dangerous intersections throughout the city. How are we to prioritize those? I believe that I'm actually really encouraged by this mayor and this transportation commissioner. I'm very excited about them and and how they're going to be prioritizing this. And we're asking as a community that these routes be prioritized among those improvements. And we need to make sure that the Department of Transportation has the resources to address all of these intersections. You know, the budget under Mayor de Blasio went up like 25% to over $100 billion a year. That's bigger than almost all the states. It's bigger than many countries around the world. So I think it's fair for $100 billion to ask our city to address 10th Avenue, 11th Avenue, 7th Avenue, 6th Avenue. So that's what we're doing here today. If they do make cuts, it shouldn't be at the expense of expediting these projects. Thank you.